Alright guys, welcome into today's everyday makeup drawer. This is going to be for the month of September. I missed doing August's because I wasn't here. So this is going to be like a sum up of all the stuff that I didn't get to include in my August. What I do in these videos is I show you guys what I have going in my testing new makeup system of drawers. And then this is my everyday makeup where I rotate my products, but also I keep my project pan in here. So that's kind of the sum of it. I like to go through what's in here already, and then I make decisions about what's been in here and then refresh this one. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit. So let's get into it. All right, you guys, let's start at the top up here. I always like to start with the testing new makeup. I only have one lip product. It's the Kulfi Lassie Lip. This is in Tamarind. I've tried this once. That's it in a testing new makeup. It's a stain, but it's also supposed to be like a lip oil. I don't know if I love this. It's kind of one of those products that reminds me of the Rare Beauty lip oils where they were like a stain, but they also had like a little bit of gloss on the top. And then once the gloss faded, the stain stuck around. I don't know if that's like my preferred kind of lip product, if I'm being honest. I did keep the Rare Beauty lip oils, but I pared down like some of the shades that I had. So it's not like immediately staining, but it will stain if you leave it on there for a while. Still testing it, so don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. Then I'm still testing this, the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder as like an under the foundation base. Again, all of these products that I'm talking about in this section are going to be stuff that I'm testing. So I don't have my mind wrapped around it. I thought I did, and I had stuck it in the bins where I go over all of the stuff I'm going to do for speed reviews. But because I didn't get to do them for August because I wasn't here, I kind of forgot how I feel about it. So it's going to go back. And then I'm still using this. It's the Revolution Blur Stick. It's basically like a clay rock that's supposed to help like absorb some of the oils in like your T-zone. I've used it a couple of times, but I think I'm gonna have to like move it from where it is like downstairs or something like that to see how it refreshes my makeup throughout the day. It's gonna have to like go in my purse or whatnot. So I might move it down there at some point. I'm not resolved in doing that just yet. Now these two top drawers, I keep my eye products, like single eye products where I'm testing new eye products. So let's go over these two here. This is in a Make Beauty Compact, but it is from AOA Studio. It's just a single, and I haven't even used it once. I bought it with a bunch of stuff from AOA Studio, but this was one product that I just didn't get to. It's in the shade Saint, so I will still test that out. This is also from AOA Studio. It's another single. This is the Shimmer Eyeshadow in Firefly, another one that I did not get to test. I may have even picked this up in like the second order, because I placed another order with AOA Studio because there was quite a few things that I really enjoyed from the stuff that I bought and tried that I was like, I think I'm gonna try more. For $1, I think this is a damn good looking single shadow, if I do say so myself. So I have these to test. And then this drawer, I have actually tested these, but only two actually, and one time only, and I like to test them more than that before they go into my speed reviews, and this would go in like a ranking of the eyeshadow palettes that I've tried. And I think I've only used the mattes. I haven't used any of the shimmers. I've like swatched them, but I haven't actually used any of them. So this one is the 9 Color Cherry Blossom eyeshadow palette in Hirosaki. And then the final palette from AOA Studio is the Multicolor Baked eyeshadow palette. It's supposed to be like a blush and highlighter also. It's like a trio. You can use it for all of those things, but probably not something that I would use as blush and highlighter. This one is in Emerald Peacock. It's a nice baked formula. Like it feels very silky and soft. I'm interested to like see how this looks on the eyes and testing all of those shades. I'm not generally a fan of when it's like this. If it's decent enough quality and it knocks my socks off, like that looks delish and beautiful. And then the last single eye product is the Loose Pigment from AOA Studio. Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved this when I tried it. I mean, like, look at the shimmer and the sheen when it will focus. Like, it is so pretty. This one is in the shade Enchant. It's just open like this. It doesn't have like a top or a lid or whatnot. And it's not like full. When I got it, it wasn't like completely full, but it is so freaking beautiful on the eyes. You can check out my testing AOA Studio, like full face of makeup for $1. And I use that shadow in there, but I want to test it a couple more times because I generally like to test things like at least 3 times before I put it into speed reviews. This next set is where I keep blushes. This was totally different the last time I filmed this video. I had a ton of different formulas in here and I have used them all and flushed them out. So I need to replenish this. So if you guys have never seen these videos, I keep a stack of new makeup that I've used in a video testing and I've used one time, but then they go into these drawers so that I can test them more and more and more before I put them in a speed review. So this is all I have left. I had 3 shades of the L'Oreal Lumi liquid blush and I did test one, and then I have the new, it's probably reformulated cheek slime from Freck Beauty, and this one is in the shade Love Flush, which I think is like kind of an orangey peachy shade. But this is not enough for the month of September. I usually like to fill this sucker up because I have so many blushes on standby. The last 2 years have just been blush heavy. So let me go grab some of those so we can fill this up. I think I grabbed enough here. Anytime this gets low or I've tested all the blushes, I will rotate in more even if it's off camera. But I go in the order of last in, first out, the LIFO method. And I try and take the stuff that I've used the longest time ago to put in my rotation next. So it goes in order of how old the product is. So I have the Complexion Rescue Bronzer from Bare Minerals in the shade Kiss of Mauve. This is gorgeous. I really liked this. I enjoyed this quite a bit, more so than I thought, especially in the shade. It's supposed to be a blush bronzer hybrid, so it's not really mauve necessarily, there's not a lot of pink in it, if that's what it's kind of going for, but I thought it was a really nice formula the one time that I tested it. So let's put that in there. I also bought this some time ago, just personally for myself, because one of you had said that the shade Soar in the Glossier Cloud Paints was so nice. So I wanted to give this a shot. Let's take it out of the box. I think what they had mentioned was it's a really nice shade. It looks super vibrant, but it's just not overly pink when it gets to the cheeks. It's actually this really nice flush of color. So I'm hoping that's the case because I really enjoy this formula quite a bit. Ooh, it's pretty hot pink though. It's hot. So we'll see how that looks. I don't know if I'm gonna love this. This is not a shade that I normally would reach for my blushes, but we'll see. And then I have 3 of the Baby Got Blush liquid blush puffies from Essence. I tried these some time ago. I think I did a dedicated video on them and I got one of the highlighters as well. So I wanna put these in there and test these. And then finally, I have the Cheek Dewy Blush from Bella Beauté Bar, and I do have a discount code with them, you guys. I will leave it in the description box in case you guys are interested in checking this or anything else that they have out. It's a liquid blush from a indie brand, and this one's in Rose Ritual. And I don't try a ton of non-eyeshadow products from indie brands, and so I'm really interested to test this formula out because oh my gosh, look how pigmented that is. That is such a beautiful shade too. Holy cow. I think I'm gonna really like this. Liquid blushes are coming out like crazy and they're not my favorite. I have to say I'm getting more used to liquid blushes now, and I'm getting to the point where I'm nope, yep, nope, yep. But this, look at that. That might be even too intense, I don't know, but it gives me high hopes. Ooh, and it looks like it's a little bit juicy. But anyway, I'm definitely interested and have been trying to use more non-eyeshadow products from indie brands. So I think this is good. This is what this drawer looks like now. Again, if I test these pretty quickly, I use one every single day for the next week or whatever, or 2 weeks, I usually will just rotate the next set of products in so that the blush can keep moving along, because I want to say I probably still have 10 more blushes to test that I have sitting over there in the drawers on top of my desk. Now this next one is where I keep bronzers. The only bronzer that I have in here right now is from Ilia, the Sun Shift Cream Bronzer in the shade Ray. I've tested this once in a testing new makeup video. It's way more metallic than I thought it was going to be, but I do really like it for the cheeks. It's not the lightest shade. Whatever I was thinking, I don't know why I didn't get the peachy shade, but I did pick this one up, so I'm going to keep using that. And the 2 highlighters that I have, Light Shift Cream Highlighter in Glint from Ilia. Again, both of these new releases. So, and then I have the Glow Shot Liquid Highlighter from Moira Beauty. This was so pretty. It was like a champagne gold shift. It had pink and blue in it. It was really, really pretty and kind of on the drier side, even though it's kind of an oilier texture. Just something about it sinks into the skin perfectly. This one is in the shade 001. It's Vanilla Bliss. And the other and last highlighter that I have is from Essence. It's the Baby Got Glow Liquid Highlighter in the shade Sassy and Silk. So I'll add this one. So that's it. I'll clear this out pretty quickly. That's just not a ton of products, but I don't think I have any more highlighters or bronzers to test at the current moment. Let's move on to to this one next. All right, you guys, I have mentioned that this one here is where I keep my everyday makeup. So this one is usually where the most work needs to be done. And I do keep Project Pan items in here too. And I have had this set of lip products in rotation for like 4 or 5 months at this point. So some of the stuff needs to go. And I'm going to pass along some of the things that I've had in my Project Pan because I don't want to pan it if I don't love it. I think that's kind of it. I do like this Jouer in rose gold. It's just a shimmery lip topper, but I don't love it enough to keep using it as long as it takes to get through lip products. So I'm gonna pass that along to my daughter. And then I have a mini of the Dior lip maximizer, but I just got a full size of this. So I don't need to keep this one in 001 pink. This was in my Project Pan too. And honestly, I've done a decent job in like using a good chunk of what I feel like is in here because man, these just stretch on for days and days. But I don't need to keep it. I feel like I'm torturing myself. My favorite shimmery lip gloss is this one from Marc Jacob. I cannot tell you how long I've had this. I won't tell you how long I've had this. Too long. That's how long. This one is in Pink Paradise. Yes, and it's the Enamored Dazzling Gloss. If Marc Jacobs comes back in 2025, please bring this back. This was freaking amazing. Guys, this gloss has like a stick-to-itiveness that is fabulous. This stays on for hours, and the shimmer, the color is like infused with like blue sparkles that are so flattering on the lips. This and a lip liner, I'm telling you guys, it looks like nothing, but it is fabulous. Fabulous on the lips. I love the shimmer, and it's not sticky. It's super smooth and it still smells good after all these years. I won't pass that along. I'm going to use that. That's one that I love using and I feel good about panning. My other one that's in Project Pan is the Kiko Milano Beauty Essentials 3D Effect Lip Gloss, and this one is in the shade 02. This was like limited edition. They do that quite a bit. But it's starting to smell. No, it smells. I like it. I don't need to torture myself with something that stinks in my Project Pan. You know, this is like expired. And even though there's only that amount left, it's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna throw it away. It just smells. All right. This one has been in here for so long. The Beauty Bakery decided they're not going to close their doors. They're going to stay open. I don't know what happened, but I think we just heard the announcement. So I don't feel like I need to hold on to this forever because it's not going to go away. This is like a matte lip in Sunrisa Souffle. I love this thing. It is so comfy, creamy, matte formula, like deliciously smooth on the lips, and it lasts a good amount of time, and this camera won't focus on anything that I'm holding in front of it. This is a little bit of an older product and I've worn it recently, and I was like, I'm gonna declutter it, and then I put it on and I was like, I'm not gonna declutter it. So I think for now I'll just keep it up here. These three are gonna go back. The Fenty Gloss Bomb in Fenty Glow, I used it only a couple of times because I've been working on the ones I was trying to pan, so I just kept ignoring it, but I used it a couple of times, but I still feel like I can put it back. My gloss from Juvia's Place, this one is still good. It's in Cis. I'm going to put that back, and I think I'm going to keep this one out. It's the Clarins Lip Oil in 08 Strawberry. If I used it a couple of times and I thought I would put it away, but since I'm kind of like rotating a lot of these lip products, like I'm just going to leave this here for now. And I might not even replenish this. I might just like leave it pretty light. And then I had two glosses from Lunar Beauty that were a little bit older. This one is in Divine. It's like a sparkly pink, if it will focus. These are like delicious. Like this is so pretty, and I've used it maybe one time since I stuck it in here. And then Aura is the other shade, which is like this beautiful milky mauvey brown. It honestly is really flattering, like on lighter skin tones, I think. So I think I'm gonna keep it this light. This is it. This is all we're gonna keep in here. I'm gonna declutter and or throw away 3, and then I'm gonna put 2 of them back. And I'm just not gonna replenish the lip products until next month. This was the first year that I started my everyday makeup drawer. And so for that reason, I feel like it's taken me 6 months to figure out how do you rotate and Project Pan and test new stuff. I think it's taken me 6 months to figure out my own system, believe it or not. I have 2 foundations in my Project Pan, the Dior Backstage Face and Body. I'm gonna hold on to this still. I still think it's good, and I don't want to get rid of it, even though I've thought about it. I don't want to. And then the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation, I'm still working on in my Project Pan, and I've made even more of a dent since the last time, so I feel good about it. But I'm constantly like trying to rotate my foundations, and so this one doesn't get like its individualized attention, but I still want to keep it up here and keep working on it. I also want to keep this, the Catrice Prime and Fine. This was kind of in my Project Pan, I guess. I like to have at least one setting spray up on my vanity, or at least one that I'm using pretty consistently. So this one is going to stay, and I'm pretty sure I'll use it off pretty quickly. The last lip product that was up here that was in my project pan was the lip liner from Marc Jacobs in Primrose. Guys, I love this shade. It's like the perfect lip liner lip shade for me, but I feel like I'm torturing myself again. This is one of those products that I like. It has decent lasting power, but this is going to take me so long to get through, and it's such an old product. I think it's on the drier side. I don't need to keep this. This is not something that I feel like is so unique in my collection that it needs to stay. So I'm going to throw this away because it is years upon years upon years old. I don't think it's given me any adverse effects, and I have newer ones, want to show love to them, so I'm going to pass those along. These three in the back are just the minis from Makeup Forever that I don't have anywhere else to put them, because where I keep my lip liners, they'll just sink to the bottom and I would never find them again. So I just keep them up here in my everyday makeup, but they're not for any other purpose, just sitting there just so that I can have somewhere to store them. So that's that. I had two primers in my everyday makeup. I had the Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer, and I ended up decluttering it in my last declutter video of my primers. I got good use out of it, but I know that I have other blurring primers in my collection that I prefer more than the Rare Beauty one, and that one is just like on the old side. Again, just not something I felt like I needed to keep more than the other blurring primers that I had. But I put the Power Grip Primer from e.l.f. in there as well, and I got to use this a bunch of different times. I use like just a dab of this because honestly, like, it travels pretty far, it's really sticky, and I like to center it in like the T-zone, and I feel like that is the most impactful way to use this product. So I got good use out of it. It can go back. I'm making my to go back pile. So we'll grab some more primers from Shop My Stash. This is where I had my blush from my everyday makeup. I had the two Milani baked powder blushes, one in Luminoso and one in Dolce Pink, and then I had the Buxom and Dolly, and then I had, I think this is called Rose Pink. This is a cream blush from Honest Beauty. What shade is this? Yes, Rose Pink. This for the longest time was in my project pan, and I was like not panning it, so I was like, let me just move it to my everyday makeup drawer, and then didn't reach for it once. Just because this gets full so often, I got to use both of these. So because these are powder blushes and I feel like they're still in good shape, good condition, not too old, I'm gonna put them back. This one from Dolly, I decluttered its counterpart, but I think I like this one. It's like a little bit on the stickier side. I still think I'm gonna keep this one in here, and I'm gonna keep the one from Honest Beauty. God, it's so hot in this room right now. It's like melting. I'm gonna keep both of these, and they're only those are gonna stay for now. I don't want to add any more. I would just like to rotate between these two blushes any day that I'm not testing a new blush. And it really just depends, because these are both like kind of mauve-y shades, like pinky shades. So if I don't have like a mauve-y shade that I'm testing, I won't reach for a new blush to test. I will go, okay, well then I need that shade from this drawer. And that's kind of why I was like trying to keep one pink and one peachy shade in there as well. All right, this next one is bronzers. Now, if you guys have seen any of my other videos, you know I have done my due diligence here in trying to test all of my cream and liquid bronzers again to move them on. If I don't like them, it's time to move them. It's kind of like chopping block is what I've been doing with them. This one is from Kosas. This is the Waves, the Sun Show bronzer. Sorry, the Sun Show bronzer in Waves. I love this. I do. I like me a shimmery bronzer on the cheeks. I like a lighter one too. And this is nice. It's more warm though, you know, like once it gets to the cheeks, it's definitely got some decent warmth to it. And it's nice and shimmery, but it stinks to high heaven. It actually smells like rotten cardboard is what it smells like. And these Kosas products don't last that long. And because it's a little bit more on like the golden / warm side, I have shimmery bronzers that are like this that are more neutral, and because this smells, it's kind of torture to wear every time I open it. It's like, oh, that stinks. So I'm going to declutter this. I'm going to throw this away. I don't think Kosas products last very long, so that's a declutter. And then I pulled in these three from my liquid bronzers, and they're all very similar. The Kiko Milano Beauty Wear 2-in-1 Cushion Bronzer and Contour, Physicians Formula Contour 1, and the Tarte Sculpt Tape. None of these are contours. None of these are all liquid bronzers. So I was testing them all like side by side because I don't need 3 liquid bronzers plus the liquid contour from Charlotte Tilbury. It's so funny when I swatch these, they just give me such a different impression than like what they look like on the cheeks. Like this one from Kiko Milano, it comes out so much more like bronzy and orange when it blends out. The one from Physicians Formula is actually really nice and smells delicious. And this one from Tarte, it comes out almost red on the cheeks. But when you swatch them, that's not what they look like. Like they don't look like or what they end up looking like on the cheeks. But I have relative data here. I know that the one from Kiko Milano comes out way too orange. I really like the one from Physicians Formula. Probably the best like bronzer shade or even like contouring if it's like supposed to be a hybrid or just a contour wand as it says. This one is in Fair Light anyway. But I have the one from Charlotte. I don't need all of these, even though these were super convenient and I really do love a liquid bronzer. For whatever reason, I prefer liquid bronzer over something like a liquid blush or a liquid highlighter, probably because they go down first and you don't have to worry about them messing with anything but the foundation is probably what it is. But I don't need the Kiko Milano. This is a discontinued product anyway because these are like limited edition collections that come out. So I'm going to declutter it. I'm going to pass it along. The Physicians Formula, again, probably the best like contoury shade, but I don't need it in addition to the Charlotte Tilbury. And the one from Tarte, it just comes out looking a little bit more red. It has like this kind of like reddish pinkish tinge to it when it gets to the cheek, and I've used this so much more than the other two that there's probably less than half left. So she stays, the other two get to go, and this goes back in the drawer so we can replenish and keep testing my liquid and cream bronzers to see which ones make the cut and which ones don't. The final bronzer that was in here was the Merit Bronze Balm in the shade Clay. I've raved about this. It's such a unique formula. I think at the time, especially when it came out, but it is way too warm on me. Like I'm not reaching for things that warm. When it gets to my skin, it almost looks like an orange stripe. I don't want to keep it. I want to pass it along to somebody else who might get use out of it. I'm glad that I got to retest it and I have recent data to support the fact that I feel good about getting rid of it. All right, let's move on to the highlighters. So I put all these in for my highlighters. Same thing. I'm basically doing like chopping block status with my highlighters in the liquid department. This one I kept in here to rotate for my everyday makeup. So I made some decisions here too and feel great about it. I never even got around to testing the 27 Rosieres from Miss Fame. And this one is in the lighter shade, White Hot Gold. I love the way this looks, but practically speaking, I have no use for this. It just did not look good on the skin every time I used it. I couldn't use it on the eyes. I couldn't use it on the cheeks. Just, it didn't sink into the skin. It was like splotchy and patchy. I think I got this from Credo Beauty back when they like had a sale. I even mentioned that I loved this. Like it looked so gorgeous. In the pot, I just don't have a use for this. It's beautiful and that's the reason I've been holding on to it, but I'm going to let it go. I'm going to declutter it. All right, now these, I had 3. I don't need 3. So I had to kind of go through and make a decision. Unfortunately, each one of these were a different shade. So I had a little bit of a hard time. The one from Laura Mercier was in gold. This one, it was in Pillow Talk from Charlotte, and then this one was in Pearl Glow. So I had like a champagne one, a pink one, and a gold one, and I was like, oh crap. Well, I'm not just decluttering them for the sake of shades, because they're all different. Liquid highlighters, I like to keep a really small collection, or only the ones that I absolutely love. So I had to make some tough decisions, because the thing is, I really love all of these formulas. So here's the Laura Mercier in Gold Glow. I think it was called Gold Glow. It's probably not a shade that I reach for most often. I'm usually going for something champagne-y or something pink. That's pretty much what I go for. So here's the one from Charlotte, which is pinky. Hopefully it's translating. Here's the one from Tarte, which is pearly, and then Laura Mercier. So as much as I love the Laura Mercier formula and like how actually like very skin-like it is and how it sinks in really nicely and then it's more on the subtle side, it's not a shade that I reach for that often. And it would be great on top of like a peach blush, but I want to pair it down. The Laura Mercier is just so beautiful when you swatch it. It's just so hard to declutter because it's such a beautiful formula. I just don't use gold that often, and this actually looks pretty gold when it gets to my cheeks. The two that I'm gonna hold on to are the Charlotte and the Tarte, and I'm gonna pass along the Laura Mercier. All right, and then the final one was the Ofra highlighter in collaboration with Nikki Tutorials. This one is in Glazed Donut. Gorgeous, beautiful, icy highlighter. I was wearing this quite a bit when I was looking for a powder highlighter. I have used it, and it's time to go back in rotation and I'll swap it out. So that makes quick work of this. We need to replenish the highlighter just like the bronzer. And the very last drawer is 2 items that are in my project pan. I have setting powder from Beauty Bakery. I really love this powder, but I have been neglecting so many of my other powders, so I want to rotate some more in. And then I'm going to move this to like the actual bronzer drawer because I keep forgetting that this is down here. This is in my project pan. It's the Balm Desert Blush Slash Bronzer. It doesn't come in any shade, it's just one shade, but it's like a pinky shade. It's like has peach to it, like almost red. It's a gorgeous dual product, and I have been working on panning this for so long, and there's still so much left. So I'm gonna move it to bronzer land so that it gets more use, and I'm gonna leave the powder in there, but we're gonna add to the powder so that I can rotate more powders in from my everyday makeup. But before we get into the Shop My Stash portion, I want to add this setting spray to my Testing New Makeup. It's a new release from Moira Beauty. It's the Ultra Matte Setting Spray. All day mattifying and shine proof. I've only tested it one time, so I don't know how I feel about it. So that'll complete that. Now it's the Shop My Stash portion. All right, here we go. All right, you guys, let's start off with the primer drawer. I just did a primer declutter, so I got rid of a ton of primers that I'm not using. So I want to pull in probably 2. I think that I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around. So I did say in my primer declutter that I wanted to test this one out a little bit more. This is the number 28 serum primer from Hourglass. I think I've used maybe like just a little less than half of this. So I want to get a better sense of whether or not I want to keep that in my collection, because primers are just not something that I use very often. Like I got rid of a good lot of these, honestly. And then this one, the Liquid Poreless Putty Primer from e.l.f. I've used this probably half a dozen times, maybe a little bit more. But again, not something that I can even remember it doing a whole ton. The rest of these I really like for different reasons. Hydrating, it's a little bit of a luminous primer, one that's a sunscreen as well, some bronzing ones, and then this one I do still have to test because I'm not sure that it really does a whole lot. It's the One Size Secure the Sweat Until Dawn primer, I think is what it's called. Anyway, these 2 are my like blurring and mattifying primers. So those 2 are the ones that are going to go into rotation, the e.l.f. and the Hourglass. Now I'm going to skip foundations because I don't put foundations in rotation. I don't put concealers in rotation because I use concealers like based on the foundation that I'm using for the day, basically. You know, how much coverage does it give? Is it a little bit more radiant or is it a little bit more mattifying? And even tone too. So let's skip ahead to powders. All right, I just did a declutter on my powders too, but there were quite a few in my collection that I said that I wasn't like sure about, that I needed to test a little bit more to decide whether they're mattifying enough or just really what I'm looking for when it comes to powders. I want to try the Prism Libre powder again from Givenchy. I don't remember loving this, so this one is a chopping block item for sure. And I'm gonna pull in one more as like a chopping block item. I think it's gonna be the One Size pink powder. This is the Ultimate Setting Powder, and it's just I think like baby pink, ultra pink. So these 2 I'm not sure that I absolutely love or need to keep, where a lot of the other ones I do know that I like. I don't know, it's just chopping block basically is how I'm kind of thinking about adding these to my everyday makeup collection. So I think those 2 are good, in addition to the other powder from Beauty Bakery that I'm still working on panning. All right, let's move on to liquid and cream bronzers because I'm still working on those. All right, from this drawer, I've been trying really hard to pare down my liquid and creams, like I told you guys. So I love all of these. I love the Iconic London, the bronzing drops. I love the Calibre bronzing drops. The Charlotte Tilbury contour wand I really like. The e.l.f. contour wand I really like. I just want to pull out the ones that are questionable for me in my collection. And I'm okay with pulling out quite a bit. I think I'm going to pull in the Winky Lux. This one I think is a pretty decent like bronzer. But is it too orange, I think is really the question. Like, is it too warm for me and what I'm reaching for? So let's pull in the Winky Lux. What do they call this? Cheeky Rose Liquid Sculpt. It's definitely not like a sculpting product. It's definitely more like a bronzing product. I think I'll pull in 3 more. I think I'm going to pull in the Physicians Formula Diamond Bronzer. This one is in the shade Bronze Gem. They probably only came with like 1 or 2 shades. You know how Physicians Formula do. I think this is just a pretty warm shade, although it's like a beautiful formula. It's a nice cream formula. It's got like a little bit of dewiness, a little bit of radiance, but again, I think this is just a little bit too warm, so I probably won't keep this, but I want to put it on the cheeks just to test it out. Same thing with this one from Chanel, all the way back here. I think this is just a little bit too warm. I'm pretty sure this is the reformulated version. It's just pretty darn orange. Even though it's like a beautiful formula, it's not overly pigmented. It's a little bit desaturated. But again, this is just not at all what I'm reaching for. It probably was at one time and why I held on to a lot of bronzers like this. But then when my preferences changed, I decided, okay, I need to retest all of these. So I can clearly see the difference between, like, with the ones that I've pulled out and just how orange they are, and that they probably won't stay. And then I think I want to take the one from Milani. I think this one is also just a little bit too warm for me in Hey Honey. It's the Cheek Kiss Cream Bronzer. Hey Honey is the shade. This is like a thicker, moussier texture. This one might be like the best looking, but even then you can see this undertone is very warm and it's densely pigmented. Like it's not a really sheerable product. So as intense as it is, if it is too warm, like this warmth in the undertone, if it's just too much, probably not a shade I want to keep. This is a formula that I would love to see if they had like a lighter or more neutral shade. But I think all of these, they're giving me the impression that they're just going to be a little bit too warm. Let me show you like in contrast, kind of like what I like. Like this one, if it's gonna have a little bit of warmth to it, I would rather it lean a little bit peach or a little bit red, or even just less warm. Like even the one from RMS Beauty, this has warmth to it, but it's golden. It's got like a little bit of, I don't know, rosiness about it, where these are just like on the lighter side, but they're just full warm. So I don't know. Those two, I just know they look better on my skin than the ones that I pulled out. Even this one, Makeup Revolution. See how much more neutral that is? And it's such a better formula, or similar enough to the Milani, that this is like the shade that I would like to keep. This is more emollient, more creamy, not as densely saturated in terms of pigmentation as the one from Milani. So this is definitely like a decent replacement to that if I was going to keep them. All right, I think finally I'm going to take this one. You can see the Milani one like even stained me here. This one is from Iconic London. I don't even know if they make this anymore because it went on sale so many different times. It's the Precision Duo Contour Pot in Light Shadow. So on top they have a powder bronzer, I suppose is what this is supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be a powder contour. Mine came broken when I got it from Sephora. I think I like this shade a little bit better than maybe the contour, but again, want to get it to my cheeks to test it out to see if it's something that I want to keep around. It's not something that I'm like terribly attached to, so. And I think that's good for this drawer. I like both of these, I'm pretty sure. Like this is the more neutral one from Tower 28, the Sculptino in Broad. I got rid of the Bronzino. A little bit too golden, too shimmery, too metallic, I guess. So next month I want to take these three right here, 1, 2, 3. These are like the trio stacks that I have that each have a bronzer. And I like the bronzer, I think, or at least I did, more so than the blushes and highlighters in here, if applicable. Yeah, I think they all have highlighters. So I know that I liked them at one point more than I did the blushes and the highlighters, so I had put them in this drawer. So really those are the last three that I want to test from here. I've tested everything else. It'll just be about rotating my collection after this because I've narrowed it down, or will have narrowed it down to what I really, really enjoy using. Let's move on to highlighters next. Highlighters are actually the drawer above. Now, I was working through the liquids the last time I did this and putting all of my liquids in the chopping block, but I only have 3 liquids remaining. Nope, 4. The one from Dior over here as well. So I have 4, plus the Charlotte Tilbury and the Tarte that I decided to keep. So actually, let me put those back. I'm gonna throw those in the back over here. I think probably, yeah, just kind of like that. And I forgot to put the bronzer away, the only one I'm keeping from Tarte. I'll put that with Charlotte. So here I have pared down my liquid and cream highlighters, so I feel really good about it. So I want to grab for ones that I'm probably questioning more chopping block stuff, because this is such an extensive highlighter collection. It's been bigger. I have pared this down. I still only want to grab the stuff that I want to grab, you know? I don't need to hold on to everything. Let's go to the stuff that I'm questioning. It's these two right here for sure. This one from Profusion, it's just a little bit on the glittery side. This one is the Whipped Glow Mousse Highlighter in Sweet Whip. I kept it because it's really kind of like a unique shimmery highlighter. Can you even see that? Like, it's actually pretty damn cool, but it's almost like more like a eyeshadow. So I want to test this one again. And then this one from Sephora, I was not overly impressed with. It's the new one that just came out in Rose Quartz. It looks really pretty. I just remember it not being, maybe it was the other one because I had two shades and I think I put the other one in for a declutter, but I really enjoyed this one. So I'll get some use out of it. I'll pull it back out. Both of those are pretty pinky. Should I grab an icy one? Yeah, I think I'll grab this one finally for the chopping block. I don't need to keep this if I don't absolutely love this because I have icy highlighters that are so good in my collection. This one is from Makeup Revolution. It's the Diamond Glow highlighter, and I don't remember it coming in more than one shade. It's like smooth when it gets to the skin, but it feels so powdery when you touch it. This is not, again, one that I'm like overly attached to, so I could definitely see myself parting with it to get more use out of the ones that I do love eventually once I'm done chopping blocking these things. Well, that makes 3 highlighters in the chopping block and 5 total because I still had the other 2 that were in there, and I feel like 5 is just plenty. It's more than enough. I'm definitely eyeballing the ones that I would put in a chopping block next month. I would probably do this one from L'Oreal because this one came smashed and I just don't remember it being like overly remarkable. And then this one from Catrice that's all the way back here. This is a baked glow lover, and I really do like the subtleness of this, but I don't really like subtle if I even use a highlighter at all. If I use a highlighter, I want it to be pretty punchy, so I'm not always looking for subtle, even though it is very beautiful in the skin. So I think that that is good for the highlighter section. All right, let's go ahead and put all of these things away. Okay, we're back here. Let's go ahead and put this stuff away that we pulled out from the Shop My Stash. So we've got the 2 primers. I always put them up here in one of these top 2 drawers. And then I'll put the rest of the bronzers right here. So I've got the Winky Lux Liquid Sculpt. I've got the Physicians Formula Diamond Bronzer. I have the Chanel. And then I have the Iconic London and the Milani. So this will complete the rest of the bronzers. I probably will test the Ilia one first and then I'll move on to the other ones, but I think that's good. And then highlighters, I'm going to put in this drawer right here. So Makeup Revolution, Sephora, and then the Profusion one. I mean, those make sense to me as to why I would want to get rid of those. They're just affordable and they didn't stand out to me. Anyway, the 2 powders that I have, I'm going to put down here with my one that I'm project panning, and that's it, you guys. That makes up everything for my everyday makeup drawer and all the stuff that I'm testing for the month of September. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys are not currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe, you guys. I'm out of here and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye.